te waha i ngā kōrero mo te Pāti Māori i te pōnei. E tuku mihi, e tuku aroha, e whakaaro nui te ana tō mātou pāti ki ngā whānau, ngā tangata, kua pēhi i ngā tūkinotanga o te wā. So I want to extend our absolute aroha to any victim and whānaus of victim, period. Even more so, I want to mihi to the police. And to the many police officers who we've been in constant communication with, local police commanders, officers, even in a bi-party approach too in those different hui. And finding us way in a solution to make sure that them and our whānau are safe in our communities and what this looks moving forward with this legislation. But I thought it would be ideal to take my 2 cents on being a rangatahi Māori, being profiled, and what those experiences are. And I reflect hugely today on question time. As I asked this House, I asked ministers on the huge impacts of how the police enforce their gang legislation, as we have seen recently in Wellington and Auckland, where rangatahi Māori have been profiled and arrested at gunpoint on the suspicion, and I repeat suspicion, of gang affiliations that were never proven. And this relates purely to this bill, because there's no denying that our criminal justice system is institutionally racist and unfit for Māori in Aotearoa. Māori suffer unequal outcomes at every level, and we are more likely to be stopped, searched and arrested and convicted than anyone else. And I want to speak to my own experiences as to why I asked that question today in question time.
Well, as it relates to the bill.
As it relates to the bill.
And with frequent references to the bill.
Really? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is actually what I'm talking about. I can say Hakuna Matata in this house.
That reflects, if you can just say, that reflects on the member that made that comment, and leave him to reflect on that himself, but you reflect on the bill, please.
Can my time be stopped? Despite being 20% of the population, Māori are 37% of the proceeded against by police, 45% of people convicted, and 52% of the people are in prison. In 1988, Moana Jackson's groundbreaking report, He Whai Painga Hou, exposed a deep-rooted racism at the foundations of our criminal justice system. That is precisely how the Ministry of Justice summarised 3 strikes in its regulatory impact statement, quote, reinstating a 3 strikes regime would exacerbate the over-representation of populations which are already disproportionately represented in the justice system, end quote. I get so emotional sometimes around how it feels being a rangatahi Māori and having first-hand experience of racial profiling. And today I was so flabbergasted at the fact that it was being gaslighted as if it doesn't exist. And then I reflected and realised, no, they wouldn't even know what it feels like. They don't know what it feels like to be a 12-year-old rangatahi going to the movies and actually being pulled up by the police for doing absolutely nothing. They wouldn't know what it feels like to be stopped every so weeks because you are in a community in Huntly and not in Wellington. You don't know what it feels like to have 5 at a non-gang affiliated tangi and having 5 cops turn up for absolutely no reason. And even to the point where I'm questioned before entering this house whether or not I'm even an MP. And many people actually have told me, Bub, you might not be ready for Parliament. Well, guess what? Parliament wasn't ready for me. And this is what I'm talking about, the racial profiling that we experience. We're not criminals, but we are overrepresented by the justice system. So I think it's finished, but I'll be carrying on.
And I mean, that's also something that can be said there when you're presumed guilty before accusation.
I've got also something to add. Charmaine, your comment is pretty, how I say it, is pretty...
racist?
Yeah.
As a Māori person myself, I'm just like, wow.
One of the things
thank you for your insight.
One of the things I want to say is that with the 3 strikes law, one of the biggest issue is how it's implemented on ethnicities such as Maori and Asians. The reason why I'm saying this is, as someone who founded the Harm Reduction Coalition Aotearoa campaign, we are in the starting phases because we are responding that after the 2020 cannabis referendum, we are telling people the fight is not over. We are going for the final punch, which is ending drug prohibition itself. What we've seen is when it comes to drug use, it's very racist on Maori people. And it's overrepresented in prison statistics as well. And when people use drugs, be it Maori or Asian or whichever ethnicity, when they are subjected to that 3 strikes law, it becomes what happens, and the end result is they will eventually resent society for it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm saying the 3 strikes law needs to be scrapped. And Charmaine, the comment, I just disagree.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to execute my executive powers and say goodbye to this person because I'm getting pretty annoyed with this individual.
Especially when there's misleading to say, oh, it's telling they're only 20% of the population, or actually they're 20. But if you're targeted more than any other race, you are going, that is going to bump up the statistics. So let's kick off to Committee of the House. And so this is B, where there are questions, amendments will be put forward.